Okay, well, what I thought I would talk about is I have an interesting situation this semester that I have been facing. It's been really interesting in the time of COVID because I've had two sections of the same course, one on campus and one online. And so I designed them to be pretty similar. We have similar modules that we focus on in each course. And one, obviously, I was teaching in person on a Tuesday, Thursday, and the other one I was teaching online. So after spring break, everything became online. So for me, it actually wasn't too hard of a transition because I had all my materials. Mostly, I had to do some changing of in-class participation points and things like that. But mostly, I had most of my content ready online. But it occurred to me that most of my students weren't quite ready to be with me on this journey, and they hadn't necessarily signed up for the online experience, right? Our entire major in HDFS is offered online and on campus. And so students sometimes will take some online classes and some on campus. And then there's others who really prefer the on-campus experience. So it occurred to me that there were just some students who I wanted to make sure didn't get left behind, and that who, even though I didn't have a whole lot of a transition to the online classroom, I was thinking that probably was a pretty big transition for some of them. So what I thought I would just do here is just compare a little bit about my online sections. And a lot of what I'm talking about here is just creating a welcome and inviting and organized and space with clear expectations that students really felt like they could um, be successful in. So I think a lot of this is just kind of the ground setting, not expecting them to know where I put every single type of file, and kind of trying to overcome the intimidation factor. And some of this comes from different research, the role of psychological safety in human development, and it's super important for pedagogy as well. And then I don't know if anyone caught it, but there's a really fascinating webinar last week offered for free by Magna Publications by Maze Ahmad, who was talking about trauma-informed care, recognizing that our students in this time could be facing some pretty major life changes, and a lot of it is in the interpretation of the experience. And so if they're coming to this online learning experience with the traumatic experience of perhaps not having enough food to eat, or being worried about paying their rent next week or things like that, they're not in a position to be learning. And we need to acknowledge that and treat that in a sensitive way in order to be able to understand that they are emotional beings who are learning, and that really impacts their learning. So a lot of what I've been doing is just strategies for making them feel welcome and able to succeed in the online classroom. So the first, I just thought I would show a few organization tips, kind of how I organize my online classes. There's a million ways to do it, and I know we all do it differently. And so I just thought I'd show a few things that I think work for me and that I've gotten pretty good feedback from students on. In addition, the clear and transparent expectations, I'll show some of my announcements and my structure for weekly announcements and how students have responded, that's been really helpful to keep them organized and know what's expected each week. And then the showing a human side, I've just incorporated a few little examples of things to say, like, hey, I'm here and I'm a real person, and I'm rooting for you, and we're all in this together.